Wow, after for so long for this one archetype to be asked for, we finally got Fujihara's archetype, that being the clear archetype. Introduced at the end of GX and only used in 2 different duels, but it was a cool concept that never got printed to an actual archetype other than 2 cards, that being Clear Vice Dragon along with Clear World. But now with Animation Chronicles, we got a full-on archetype out of it. Even though it's an improvement to the original, it's still not going to be that great, which is going to be a little bit of a spoiler. But I am glad to see these being printed, so let's begin. So we started with Clear Phantom, which is a level 3 Dark Fiend monster with 1200 attack, 800 defense. All the clear monsters are going to have this same effect where it is unaffected by Clear World, because the playstyle of the archetype revolves around the field spell, where depending on what attribute the monster is, it's going to negatively impact the player. And it can be both players, but with clear monsters, it's unaffected. But anyway, its main effect is that you can discard this card along with another card to add 2 cards from your deck to your hand that has Clear World in its text that are spells and traps, and or the Clear World itself. So basically this is your main searcher of the deck. It's just too bad that you have to discard this card with another card instead of a 1-for-1 change, but still overall not too bad for consistency boosts. But the second effect is that if this card is destroyed, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, send the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. Luckily, you can destroy it with your own card effect, so you can actually destroy some of your opponent's stuff, but it's still not that great regardless, other than for the searching effect. And milling your opponent's top 3 cards isn't entirely that great either, because graveyard is like another hand these days. So you mainly use this for the search. In which we go to Clear Rage Golem, which is a level 4 Dark Rock monster with 1600 attack, 1800 defense, unaffected by Clear World, and its first effect, which is also hard once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can activate this effect. Your monsters that have Clear World in its text can attack directly this turn. Depending on scenario, this could be nasty, but if you're using Clear Vice Dragon, this isn't that great. But this effect is meant to combo off with the third effect, where when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, inflict 300 points of damage to them for each card in their hand. In the beginning turns, it could be a little nasty, but still overall not too great, but it just depends on scenario. And then we go to Clear Cube, which is a level 1 Dark Machine monster with 0 attack and defense, unaffected by Clear World. And the second effect is that during main phase, you can normal summon 1 monster that mentions Clear World in addition to your normal summoner set. Huge improvement to the original, I must say. Especially that 1 tribute summon monster is a level 7 that requires only 1 tribute. But the third effect is that if this face-up card in the owner's control leaves the field by the opponent, you can special summon 1 monster that mentions Clear World from your deck. In the anime version, it can only special summon a copy of itself, so this is actually a huge improvement. And also the fact that you can also get the additional normal summon is also very nice. And finally, to the second main boss monster of this archetype, Clear Vicious Knight. If you guys don't know, Clear Vice Dragon is the main boss. This is the second main boss. But anyway, it's a level 7 Dark Warrior with 2300 attack, 1100 defense. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 monster that mentions Clear World on it, aka your clear monsters. The effects are gains attack equal to the highest original attack among the monsters your opponent controls, so this will be at least 23k attack stronger than your opponent's monsters, at least for the first time, because this is not until the end of your own turn. It actually stays permanent, and it stacks with whatever next attack point gain that your opponent has. But anyway, also unaffected by Clear World. And the third effect is that your opponent cannot activate effects of special summon monsters whose attack are lower than this tribute summon card, which can be very nasty, because this is definitely going to be gaining a lot of attack, and most of the time it's probably going to be over 30k, and it will be tribute summoning if you're going to be using Clear Cube. And the anime doesn't have this third effect where your opponent cannot activate special summon monsters with lower attack than this. So this is overall a pretty cool update and pretty cool new boss monster. And finally, to our last card, Clear Wall, which is a continuous spell, and you can only activate the first effect hard once per turn. If Clear World is on the field, you can add 1 monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Clear World. Nice that this is a continuous spell that lets you search every single turn, and in the anime, this effect was not originally there, so that's also nice. But the second part is that monsters that mention Clear World cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage involving them, which is also very nice. And the third effect is that while you control a level 7 or higher monster that mentions Clear World, all of Clear World effects are applied regardless of opponent attribute they control. This is basically a reference to the effect where you can change your opponent's monster attribute to whatever attribute you wish, so it can benefit you depending on Clear World's effect, because Clear World revolves around based on what attribute your opponent has, but thanks to this, you can basically quote-unquote change their attribute, which is of course could be very helpful, because depending on scenario, certain effects might be better. And it's also a continuous spell searcher that also can protect your monster from battle, so that's another thing why this card is really good for a not very great archetype or outdated archetype now. So that's it for the new clear archetype that has finally been printed after for so long. What do you guys think of it? Honestly, it's just cool to see these getting printed because it's one of my favorite archetypes that I wanted to see printed for so long, but finally we got them. And overall, I'm just happy to see them. Hopefully we get the Darkness archetype from Night Shroud or Darkness himself, because that one I also really want to see printed. And there's a lot more anime archetypes that still need to be printed. But in that's it for this, and see you all next time.